I'm back, bitches.
Yay, I'm here too.
They found me. I was running away. I didn't want anything to do with this anymore. But they dragged me back into my cave and forced me back to doing this shit.
Dude, you just hid under a desk.
Shut
We
up.
were gonna find you.
Don't give away my hiding spots.
So I'm Christopher, and the Chris Spectacular is no more this session. We're gonna bring Panda back for other things probably.
The Chris Spectacular is pretty good. I enjoyed listening to you guys rant about the exact same shit that I rant about.
Yeah. I'm still under the weather, so my voice may crack up a bunch. I'm currently
And
drinking my chamomile peach tea.
I am actually
can't
sitting
help out.
here. I'm sitting here drinking decaf green tea at the moment, and yes, my voice is also a little messed up because I was at a concert last night. So, but bear with
Yeah.
us. We'll get
How
through
was
this.
how was your Amy Grant concert?
Yeah, Amy Grant was amazing, amazing, and by Amy Grant you mean Unleash the Archers, which is the greatest band ever and best concert I ever went to. But anyway,
I've only been to 3 concerts in my life.
I've been to a lot of them, and this was
Um,
the best of them.
I can definitely say being around a bunch of screaming people is just not for me. I've been to a lot of bar punk rock shows, and actually, when it's a concert, I mean like thousands of people, big open
Yeah.
auditorium and stuff like that. The first one ever was Amy Grant. Went
Oh,
with my mom.
all right.
The second one was Roger Waters.
Oh, well, that's a good one at least.
Yeah, and the third was Ozzy Osbourne.
Nice. Yeah, I've never gotten to see him live.
His show was fantastic. I don't know how he did it with like the lights, but he had so many like lights and strobes going off with the music, like your face and like your eyes would dilate and go back and forth because of all the strobing effects going off. Like he's like, you were going to be
I
a
don't
part of
think
this music.
I don't think it was just the lights. I think that's the lights plus the contact high for being at an Ozzy concert.
I mean that was there because I was at like the lawn section, the far back, and like, oh my god, it was just like fog cloud.
Uh-huh.
But he was old. I mean, this wasn't. It was actually probably 2 decades ago at this point in time. So he was old then. Now he's
Old,
super
but not
old now.
old.
All he could do is basically crouch down on all fours and like bounce. That's all he did. Like he sang the song and like did this frog bounce. It was kind of weird.
I would still like to see him, even if he's ancient at this point. So,
Oh yeah. So those are my 3 concerts, and what a spread.
well, but anyway, we are back. I liked Panda's intro and outro songs. Those are fantastic. I'm probably incorporating them into this episode somehow.
Pay him royalties.
Oh shit, we get paid?
And D&D news.
Wait, you said there wasn't any. Like literally, you guys had a 5-minute conversation about there being no D&D news.
Well, like the day after the podcast came out, all the more popular, and you guys haven't made us popular enough yet. It's your fault. All the more popular D&D streamers and review content people have like morning routine and not morning routine, but the nerd immersion guy and a few others have all gotten their free copies from WotC of the Wild of the Witchlights.
Oh, okay.
So the best person so far is this guy called Fry Minis. He his channel on YouTube, he went through basically every single chapter of the book, and basically here's the book page by page.
How bad is it?
I didn't watch any of it, and
That's not what I meant. I meant how bad is the Witchlight thing.
I didn't, like I said, I didn't watch any of it because they didn't really show. I mean, he showed pretty much everything that's in the book, but I don't want to. I want to experience it first for myself. I don't want someone to tell me what I think about it, so to speak.
Nah, that's understandable.
Yeah. So, hold on one second. I don't want there to be any noise. Um, I just think overall that this is going to be probably a pretty popular book. Um, I'll give a link to all the good IGN articles that kind of discuss the new races and the new fairy race and the new rabbit folk race. And that stuff is pretty good. They did fix the movement thing. I'm not sure how they fixed it, but
You're talking
I'll
about
look.
the flight thing?
No, the rabbit hop.
Oh, what was
Remember
wrong
how
with
you
it?
because you moved uh just a certain number of feet instead of like
Oh, yeah, that's right. God, it's been a while since we discussed that on here. I'd forgotten about it.
so it is now rabbit hop. As a bonus action, you can jump a number of feet equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus without provoking opportunity attacks. You can use this trait only if your speed is greater than 0, and you can use the number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
Huh. So it's giving them mobility for free.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're just bounce around everywhere.
That's a little broken, to say the least. I mean, you have to wait for level 4 to pick up mobility. Then you have to waste your feet instead of a stat boost or picking up another feat.
Yeah,
And they just get it as a starting race, and you can use it at level 1. You'd be able to use it twice per day.
yep. And ten feet's not nothing to shake a stick at. I actually, for the Owl campaign, I wrote a feat that's very similar to that for the book, whereas they could use the reaction to basically use their wings to basically move away um, a distance. I like how they basically said 5 times your proficiency bonus without provoking
Yeah.
opportunity attacks. So I'll probably use that same verbiage that they use there for that
Well, on top of
ability.
that, it doesn't seem to count as part of their movement. So it's effectively
That's
just
correct.
adding more movement. So then you play a rabbit folk monk. So, but once you hit like 10th level, you're able to move 1,000 feet around or some shit, and then jump 1,000 feet around.
What's funny is the picture that they've been showing off from the book is a rabbit, a gray hair rabbit with a pole arm.
Oh Lord, with the pole arm, of course.
So he's got to reach 10 feet. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, 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 exactly as you and Panda were saying last week. All that matters is the stats, not the lore. Nobody cares about any of that anymore.
Right.
But yeah, it's all just number crunching now. Jeez, I think it's time for a new edition.
Uh, I think there's a lot more we could do. A lot more world building and stuff like that. I don't think, like I said, I don't think the mechanics need to change at all.
Yeah, they
I
could
think
do a lot more world building since they haven't actually fucking done any. They could literally just say, okay, we're going to call this 5.5, and everything going forward is going to be just lore. And people would be good with that, I think.
maybe as long as they can sell new player handbooks, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, release a new player's handbook with just a couple of minor changes to it, of course. And then they just start releasing all the Forgotten Realms lore, and maybe even some other stuff, Dragonlance, Dark Sun, etc. And going forward, and people would be happy. People would rejoice.
Speaking of Dark Sun, uh, our associate Grumpy Dungeon Master Bruce, who called me up just a couple minutes ago and said we had to talk about him. So
Oh,
say hi to
okay.
Bruce, everybody.
Hi, Beer Bandit. What's up? You're going to be back on the podcast here shortly, buddy. Don't worry. We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen. This weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend or the weekend after, or sometime in the near future.
Yep.
Um, he sent me a link to. Now I can't find it.
Of course
Um,
not.
he sent me a link to like some of the writers of the Dragonlance series are making their own D&D campaign setting.
You mean Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman?
I don't know people's names.
Well, they're the writers and creators of Dragonlance.
Whatever. I don't know
So,
that.
so they're doing a new Dungeons and Dragons setting.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the post that he linked me to me. There it is. Oh, that's there it is. Yeah, they announced a new setting based on based on the D&D fifth edition rule set. Tracy Hickman, and Laura Hickman
Oh, okay.
are back with Sky Raiders of Abarax.
I'm in. I don't know anything about it, but I'm in. Send me the link right
So
now.
okay. Um,
You're talking to me about news that I know nothing about. Yeah, now I got to
so
read about this and get caught up.
so I guess they're the authors behind the original Dragonlance and Ravenloft settings, which is
Uh,
interesting.
Ravenloft, I didn't know about. Well, Laura Hickman. No, it was Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman were the Dragonlance authors.
Okay.
So I'm just going to assume Laura Hickman is his wife. But
But essentially, I making their own campaign settings seems to be a pretty common thing going on right now. People are running their own campaign settings that work for fifth edition,
yeah,
and they're just publishing those. I mean, even Chris Metzen, the guy that created Warcraft and all of its lore, is coming out with his own um, campaign setting book, the Ouroboros
right,
setting.
Ouroboros. Yeah,
Can't say that word for the life of me.
you failed every time you've tried to say it. It's funny.
I know. Yeah, they even mentioned that in the article too. It's very interesting. And also, the next Critical Role campaign setting isn't going to be an official D&D release. It's coming out on its own
Right.
standalone campaign setting book, which it's just really odd. I find it very odd that WotC is letting people do this.
What they wanted.
Is
That was the design. Yeah, that's why the DMs Guild exists.
well, okay, DM's Guild, they get their cut though.
Yeah.
They're not getting a cut with this. They're basing it all off the SRD, so the rules are open source,
Right. Yeah, that's
and that's
fair.
it's very great. It's awesome that they do that. So the framework is there, so you can just go to system to system to system. But they're not getting anything from these side campaign settings, which
Huh.
is very interesting that they chose that business model. And for all intents and purposes, I really hope that they continue doing that in the future because many other companies don't do that. Um,
My
like,
guess, and this is just a guess, is making that open source gives everybody access to create what they want.
mhm,
If you start having all of these famous authors and other people like Chris Medson, who World of Warcraft people know who the fuck he is, and so forth, if they start creating their own stuff and reach out to their bases, it will expand Dungeons and Dragons in general. And
right.
then WotC, while they might not make any money off of Ouroboros or whatever else, they will make more money off of DM's guides, players guides, etc.
It's just very interesting that they let that happen and they haven't swapped over to like how the Unreal Engine does its business model.
Hmm.
You know,
Right.
that
Take a
business model
percentage
is
of it, yeah, or sell them
well,
the
they don't even do
ability
that.
to do it.
The tool is free for using the tool to basically create something and publish something is absolutely free. But part of the agreement is like once you make your first $1 million, they now get 5% from that point forward. Um,
Well, this is tabletopping. Nobody's making $1 million off a campaign setting. Let's be real.
I don't think that's correct anymore.
I mean, Critical Role probably did. I'm sure they did. I don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure the Ouroboros got over 1 million on Kickstarter.
Yeah, but how much is profit?
Doesn't matter. You
Oh,
made that
okay. Well, I
amount.
guess if you just set the number at once your company,
Hmm.
gets $1 million of funding or whatever at that point. But
Yeah, they're at $1.2 million right now.
yeah, but I mean, honestly, after costs and all, that's going to be half of that.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, they're probably walking away with barely breaking even, probably.
And they'll
But
they'll they'll do more than break even, but you're still. It's probably going to be roughly half of that.
It's just very interesting that they haven't moved to that kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
mindset, and I really hope that they don't. Maybe there's just not enough money out there, but it seems that with all these people coming up with these separate campaign settings that follow that rule set, that may work. And that's something I actually thought about with the Owl campaign too. Is if I'm going to go through and write this whole adventure out, why would I publish it on DM's Guild when I can go just a little bit further, just make sure it just follows the SRD, and then say, okay, these are all my unique monsters, since most of them are unique to begin with,
Mhm.
and take out all the ones that are referenced by the monster manual and stuff like that, and then just go full bore on publishing on the Grumpy Dungeon Master website and selling it through there.
Yeah, as long as you follow the rules that they've set
Yeah,
forth, I mean, it it, it would be more, it would definitely be more time consuming, but at the same time, well, it's also a matter on the DM's Guild of Eyes. If you just release this on the Grumpy Dungeon Master, the amount of people who are going to see it's going to be a lot lower.
yeah,
Once you, if you're Chris Medson or Tracy Hickman, like you already have a name, you already have a following, so it's
yeah.
not super difficult to get this information out there.
And that's ultimately why I still would publish on DM's Guild, is because
Mhm.
they do a lot of the advertising for me too,
Yep.
in a way, at least a portion of it. So
And if nothing else, it's still, if there's no advertising whatsoever, you're still posting on a place where there's millions upon millions of people scrolling through it looking for
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Oh, Bruce also wanted to tell us that he does do XP for his campaigns,
Yeah, he
and
meant he mentioned that
people
to
are
me.
different levels at all times. He just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that we knew that we were doing it wrong with milestones.
Yeah. 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 I'm old. I'm cranky. I don't want to do math. It's that simple. It really is that simple. Doing it with XP is not incorrect by any means. That is the traditional and the true way I feel of doing it. But I've kind of grown lazy, which is funny because I'm constantly complaining that 5e is a little bit lazy. Maybe I've grown lazy because I'm running 5e.
So that picture of Grandpa Simpson yelling at the cloud, and the meme is old
Uh-huh.
man yells at
Yep.
cloud. That's just a
Yep.
picture of you yelling at a D20. Just old man yells at D20.
Anyone wants to make that happen, I got to get you a photo of myself here soon. That way we can get it up on the website, and then people can take that and do a meme of me yelling at a D20.
Hell, will it just be your picture? Yeah,
Oh
I got
man,
too much work to do, man, with that stupid website. I hate website development.
yeah,
It's not my forte.
not mine either. Um,
I spent When I was on vacation, I spent a little bit of time trying to get the website working, and I was trying to make just to allocate the page space and put it like just make a page. I wanted the page for who the grumpy DMs are, so we could put like things in columns and put our data and,
right.
and crap in there. It took me 6 hours to figure
Oh my
out
god.
what happened and what I did wrong. And it's because I installed a bunch of mods to run the shop. It needed to use the classic interface for it, and that's why everything swaps to the classic interface. And then when I figured that out, I could finally get it working. And it's just like, this is time I should be writing the
Yeah.
out
I mean, look,
campaigns.
look, we can't even quite get everything to populate on Spotify at the moment. Whatever the hell's going on is.
I fixed that problem.
I know, but it took you a little time to figure all that out. Like
Yeah,
everything just,
for some reason the logo's green. Like,
what?
you notice that on Spotify, it's got like the green background. It's all white, and the
God,
text just. I can see why. Like people build teams
yeah.
just to rhyme. Uh, and you can just write a picture of me, this old man yells at the computer.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the podcast, but apparently you guys weren't listening after the podcast, so it was totally messing up our metrics. So now I'm going to cut in and do it right now. So make sure to check us out on Instagram
Grumpy Dungeon Masters.
and on Twitter
At Grumpy_DMs.
and Facebook
Grumpy Dungeon Masters.
and on Twitch
Also, Grumpy Dungeon Masters.
And when do we stream on Twitch?
Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do our D&D game, which is currently an out campaign. But we also stream on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Just video games with me and Jay. And I, Christopher, stream on Friday, or I do campaign prep and other D&D related fun things.
And
Also,
maybe if you're lucky, you can find us on TikTok where Chris will do dancing or something.
oh yeah, I did open a TikTok. It's Grumpy Dungeon Masters, so I'll be dancing there soon. That's mine.
So
Uh,
so did you ever play the board game Hero Quest?
I own I own Dragon Quest. Which one?
Don't
Which one is Hero
he,
Quest? Which one was Dragon Quest?
I don't know Dragon's Quest.
Okay, Hero Quest.
Heroes Quest is where you could. It was made
No.
by same guys who make Warhammers, Games Workshop.
Okay.
It's an old board game from the '90s where you could play like a barbarian, a wizard, dwarf, or an elf, and then you just kill a whole bunch of orcs while running through a dungeon trying to find money. And it was a lot. There's a ton and ton of board games like it out now, but in the '90s, it was pretty much the only one like it. It came with a whole
Okay.
bunch of sweet ass miniatures and stuff. Uh, I'm a little surprised you had never played it, but I was scrolling through Facebook, came across a a page I follow, and they were talking about it on there. And I just wanted to read the fucking headline for anyone who's ever played this game before. They'll understand. It says low rent heroes scrambling for crap rewards in dirty dungeons, not even earning enough to buy that crossbow they've got their eye on. And it's very accurate because literally you're running through this dungeon, killing monsters, looting anything and everything, going to the next level of the dungeon and progressing on that way. And the amount of money you tend to find, it takes forever. If you play Gloomhaven, it's kind of like that. It just takes forever to actually buy anything. Uh, like a crossbow would just cost you, a small fortune just to get that. And the game really only ever had sort of bargain basement items. I think there were a few potions and maybe it's been years since I played this, but I think there was maybe like a sword plus one or some shit. But
Okay.
Hey, I know you've never done it, but I read this and it got me to thinking about that would be a kind of a cool campaign to run. Just nothing but a dungeon dive. Where
Hmm.
you are it's uh the Mad Mage, like just this infinite dungeon where you go from level to level and the merchant pops up every so often, but the amount of loot that you find throughout this thing is just trash. So it keeps it sort of a low powered game. Like I know there's always been different tiers of loot that goes out. Like in the early days, like Gary Gygax and them, they used to run sort of Monty Hall campaigns where you'd just find oodles and oodles of magic items and treasures, and that would sort of superpower your characters. But then there's sort of the opposite idea of that, where you just oh, you're level 12, you finally got a +1 sword.
The game I was referencing to was Dragon Strike.
Yeah, Dragon Strike.
Okay.
That was it was a D&D one, I think. It was maybe.
It was released by TSR.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
remember the cover of yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now. I remember the box.
and that's the
And
one that actually has like the VHS tape that you have to
uh-huh.
watch and
Yep.
stuff like that.
I never
That
did
was
play it though.
I own it. I have it sitting right in that closet right there with everything. I can
My
bust it out
god.
right now and play it
I'm
if you
looking at the
want to.
cards for some of the characters. They actually did like photos.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Um,
cr- yeah,
the
trippy.
best part is the male thief and the dwarf are never in the VHS video.
Oh, nice.
It's just the warrior, elf, female thief, and wizard. The best part about the wizard is it's like he's supposed to be like an elven wizard, but like he's dressed and acts like a druid the entire time.
Yeah.
It's very
So
weird.
he's a wild elf.
Yeah, but that I played that one, and I guess that's my first
Yeah,
iteration into any kind of role playing game.
yeah, whenever we get together, we'll have to actually play that because I've never gotten to play it.
My favorite board game as a kid
Well,
was
the Dark
Dark
Tower. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just that's the one we have to play. It's just so much
I'll
better.
play that one too. But no, like I grew up. I didn't own Heroes Quest, but my next door neighbor did, so we played it all the time. And then another friend of mine owned Battle Masters. I don't know if you're
Mhm.
familiar with that one or not, but
Nope.
it was also made by the same guys that do Warhammer. It's done by Games Workshop, but there was this like 4-foot mat that you would lay out on the ground, and it was a giant hex grid, and then both players controlled an army, and you would just sort of fight it out. But it was very simple and basic. So then, as you know, we once we got bored playing it, we started making up our own rules to it. Then we added in like magic, we added in wizards and just other things that weren't a part of the game. And the game got way fucking better once we did that.
I see. So you basically started just making your own game up
Yeah,
right
I
from the
mean,
get go.
we used the same rules. We just started, adding supplemental stuff. We did expansions.
um, so my father told me a story when they were playing Monopoly when he was a kid. They decided to basically start making up their own rules to make the game last longer.
Oh my god,
And
who
one
the hell
thing,
wants Monopoly to last longer? What the
right,
hell?
right. And he told me what they'd do is they'd start basically replace the houses with different sized Lego blocks. So like a greenhouse is now like the 2x1 Lego piece, and the hotel is that 2x4 Lego piece. And you can start stacking up like
Oh, that's
hotels, and then you could connect them together with other property, and basically have like hotels that like walk to other hotels.
right.
Basically, adding more multipliers to how much
I'm gonna
things
be
cost.
honest as much as I hate the idea of Monopoly taking longer, that's actually pretty clever.
It is very clever. Um, I was just thinking like, how can you afford to land on any square? Like the most you get is like $4,000 in the game, and then that's rich. I was like, oh no, you can borrow as much money from the bank as you wanted. I was like, now looking back at that now that I'm 40, I'm like, wow, you actually could borrow money from a bank.
Yeah, I
How
knew
the
that.
generations have changed. Yeah, we can't do
Yeah.
that anymore. You guys invented credit scores in the '90s and kind of ruined it for the rest of us.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really know anybody who borrows money unless they're a business owner. So kind
But
of
I always thought that was
not a thing anymore.
I always wanted to kind of play that one Monopoly game that lasted all weekend because no one plays Monopoly past 1, 2 hours,
No, no.
and everyone has their own stupid rules that always just break the game
The only
and just
the
make.
only the only rule we ever did was the free parking one. Where when you hit the when you go to jail and pay bail or whatever, that money goes into the pot. And then if you land on free parking, you get the money, which is not
So
actually
was
a
it
rule, but
was it just the money from go to jail, or was it
no,
any money you paid to the bank?
yeah, it was basically no, it wasn't any money you paid to the bank. It was I think it was like property taxes or not property taxes, but it, anytime you landed on something that would force you to pay out to the banks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So yeah, that's.
not any money, like not money you changed out, but anytime you had to pay the bank, that would go to the middle.
I'm not sure if this is in like the physical copies of Monopoly, but if you buy like
That is,
Monopoly
yeah,
game on
it is
Switch,
not official. So
well, I'm not sure in the physical copies, but if you buy the Monopoly on Switch or on a PC, that rule is in there. They have all the alternative rules that people use as options to toggle on and off in the game. So free parking is there. Any money you pay to the bank goes to a pot. You land on free parking, you get it.
yeah.
Landing on go gives you double the money, or you can move anywhere you want. And
Oh,
other
that's I've never
restrictions.
heard that one.
Yeah, I had cousins that came up with that one. And there's one that basically says you can if you land on any property, you can buy it, and you can immediately start building houses on it. You don't have to get a monopoly.
Oh, okay.
That one is very chaotic because you land on those first couple of light blues, and all of a sudden you're just dropping hotels. The first turn, somebody's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that one I could see that being a problem. If you were going to run that, I would say that at minimum you have to have gone around the board once before you can start doing that.
Yeah, that makes sense. A little bit of balance,
Yeah.
and that's why we're DMs because we can just figure out a little bit of balance right on the cuff.
Yeah, and like that is sort of what I wanted to be discussing is just coming up with, different rules and creative ideas. Um,
So I have a
eh,
question for you then.
sure.
Um, if if I'm an archer and there's an enemy adjacent to me, but I'm shooting at a target that is 60 feet away from me, do I have disadvantage on that attack?
Per the Dungeons and Dragons rules, I don't believe so. Uh,
Because that's the
real,
way I've always played. I've always played it that if you try to hit the person that's adjacent to you, you have disadvantage,
yeah.
not like other targets that are not adjacent to you.
I think
Um,
that's a carryover from third edition. Well, no,
well,
actually, no, it isn't. Because third edition, if you're shooting the adjacent target, you would have minuses. I know in fifth edition, I believe you have disadvantage if they're adjacent.
yeah. So I was like, I've always just I've ignored the whole like your party members give cover to the enemies because I always found that too complicated to really
Tedious.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and I've always kind of just gone with the idea that as long as I'm not shooting somebody adjacent to me, you just attack like normal. And that happened in our game this last Saturday. And one of the new guys, his name is Scruffy Duck. He's like, "Wait, he has disadvantage." I was like, "Does he? I don't know. I'm just gonna go with this for now because that's just the way I've always kind of done it." And it still missed anyways. But turns out the rule is like, yeah, if the archer hits anybody adjacent to him, the range attack has disadvantage.
Yeah, if the archer, if you're shooting anyone who's within that 5 feet around you, it's a
No,
disadvantage.
any
So if there's
any square
so if
anywhere.
there's so if there's anybody next to you at all,
Hmm.
trying to attack you, and you're shooting a guy 30 feet away, you have disadvantage.
Hmm. I don't like it.
I don't agree with it. So I'm going to continue to do it as I've always done and ignore that.
Yeah, because like the rules lawyer, Dimitri guy, he's like, I gotta look this up. I
I
I
don't.
don't even know.
I've read that rule. I do not remember it reading that way.
Yeah. So it's just weird. Like,
Yeah, some of the
we-
rules don't always make sense. I mean, let's be
yeah.
honest.
And I've always been very angry about the fact that all kind of heavy armor, aside from well, actually all heavy armor
All
and most
heavy armor.
medium
Yeah.
armor, always gives you disadvantage of stealth checks. And like we know from personal experience, if you suit up and plate mail correctly, you're pretty quiet.
It's added. It doesn't
Yeah.
make it does not make a whole hell of a lot of noise.
And then I'm standing there in leather armor going squeak, squeak,
Yeah, the
squeak.
leather. Honestly, yeah, the heavy leather armor makes more fucking noise than plate. Yeah,
So,
like
eh,
there's levels to plate, but like just plate, not like fucking field plate. Yeah, because field plate, you literally are just a fucking walking sheet of metal. But plate, which covers all of the soft targets, covers the arms, covers the legs, not necessarily all the joints. Like that's
mhm.
not. It doesn't make any noise.
So I found the actual verbiage. It says range attacks in close combat. Aiming a range attack is more difficult when a foe is next to you. When you make a range attack with a weapon, a spell, or some other means, you have disadvantage on the attack roll if you are within 5 feet of a hostile creature who can see you and who is incapacitated.
I'm going. I know a moment ago I said it's sort of a carryover from third edition, and I'm going to assume honestly that that's why everybody plays it the way they do, because in third edition, I'm fucking old, I'm cranky, I don't remember shit all the time. But if I recall right, it was if you were attacking somebody right next to you,
Yeah.
you would have minuses. So people probably just assume that's how it's going to work in fifth.
Well, didn't like casting a spell next to somebody provoke an opportunity attack?
I Yes, yeah, it did.
Yeah, because that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen anymore.
No, which
Okay.
honestly I kind of like that. I need to start using that.
Bite by the nose.
Yeah, the thing is, your spell could be, I think it could be interrupted in third edition from getting hit. I don't. That's not the case in fifth. Your
Yeah.
concentration can be broken, but
But yeah, so
anyway,
I mean, like, a lot of times I just try to. I try to DM with this mindset of I just want to keep the game fun and fair for the players. My wife got absolutely trashed this last weekend. It felt like to agree at the end of the game. I'm like, you know what? I feel like I'm picking on her at this point in time, and I really wasn't. She was the more opportune target,
Yeah.
always there, and uh, so she got charmed. Uh, or sorry, she got suggested and basically had to come forward. So she just basically just like walked forward,
Oh,
you know,
right into the middle of the bad guys.
right into the middle of the bad guys, and Ogre comes stomping out. Then she gets flanked by this kobolds that I've been using and the ogre, and they just basically knock her down. And then the ogre picks her up. It's like, hey, I got her, because
I
she's
have
a
to.
small little owling.
I have to
And
ask.
then
I have to ask.
hold on,
I have to.
hold on.
I'm gonna forget it.
So
Go ahead. Go.
just keep it in your head. So then when the next attack came around, um, I said the ogre was holding my wife and like saying, "Hey, I got it, I got it." So he made his like one attack with his one axe that he had, and then he swung my wife at the person as an improvised weapon attack.
I've joked with my other players about that before recently. So
So it was like I wasn't gonna like do anything negative to her. I just thought it was a very funny kind of like storytelling moment, you
yeah.
know. And, like, you could be a cruel DM and go, "Oh yeah, well you got hit, so you take damage too, and you take damage." And since she's wearing magical armor, it's magical damage. Um,
Uh,
but I'm not that cruel. It's not fun to be
so
cruel.
yeah, the two topics that way I remember them all. I'll come back to the improvised weapon thing. With your suggestion,
Uh
what was the exact word that was used?
huh. I said that the guy basically had him say, "Why don't you come over here and lay down for a little bit?"
I see. I think
It,
suggestion you
so
only get one word.
the one word, I role played a little bit, but the one word is come.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. I would never be able to use that with my players. Like that is a command. That is a command that is just right the fuck out. I'm not gonna go into all the details, but I play with a bunch of dirty minded assholes. So just right out.
Walk forward. I know it's two words, but
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't work.
march.
Yeah, March might work. March might work. But then they can just turn around and go the other way. Uh, so on the improvised weapon, we had joked about using our high level PCs, who at this point are deities. And at some point, I'm going to do like a wall of force. It's not wall of force, but there's a bubble of force that you can cast as a sorcerer. And I was going
Yeah.
to cast it on myself and then just let the barbarian utilize me as a weapon. Just a barbarian swinging a fucking sorcerer as a blunt weapon.
Oh, I remember why I did. Sorry, I not to be interrupted, but I remember why I did it. I didn't use command. I used suggestion. Suggestion could be a phrase.
Oh, okay. Okay. Never
Yeah,
mind then. Never mind.
because you can suggest somebody basically. I want you to, like the end of Wolverine Origins. I want you to walk until your feet fall off.
Right. Or pull a
And
Harry
then
Dresden. Go get me a donut from Chicago.
yeah, and then they have to go complete that with within I think 8 hours,
Hmm
24 hours. Um, but yeah, the one word would have been come. But yeah, I mean, like at the end of the day, the meme went around the same thing. Was like, hey, you can't hit this creature because you need a magic weapon. Oh, you're wearing magic armor. I'm just gonna swing you instead.
Yep. I remember seeing that meme a couple of weeks ago, and I've joked about it multiple times since then. Because I mean, I love that idea. It's been done at the LARP before that we play, so I see no reason you couldn't do it in Dungeons and Dragons.
Did I mention? I do apologize to the audience. Listen, sometimes I forget what I've mentioned on the podcast when I haven't done. It's only been a year.
Yeah,
Um,
only a year of us talking about anything and everything, and then we play games on Tuesday nights.
um, but there's a Haggard the Horrible comic where he's trying to pull the sword from the stone, and he kind of looks at it and goes, "Nah," and just grabs the sword and the stone, helps it over his shoulder, and walks away. He's like, "I'll handle this later."
That's very Hagar the Horrible.
So that's just how the barbarian works his way through the situations.
Yeah. Rather than pull it out of the stone, they would probably just smash the stone.
Oh, he doesn't need to. He's just got a club at this point.
Yeah, well, yeah, for Hagar, I'm just saying, a barbarian might, if they really want the sword, they might just pull out a hammer and break the stone. Say the hell with pulling it out of the stone.
So in that regard, with the sword and the stone, was the stone also magical?
Well, I'm going to assume it was, because if it
Be-
wasn't, then you would just break the stone.
Because I don't remember what Arthurian story I watched, but there was one where when Merlin put the sword in the stone, he actually gave it to like this earth elemental creature.
Mhm.
And the earth elemental was given the ability to basically tell who was the appropriate person to let it go, and he was just pinching the sword. Like
Okay.
his fingers were was holding the sword there,
Yeah. See,
and he was
I actually envision like the sword is alive and it creates like a million little grubby hands that just hang on for dear life when somebody tries to pull it out. It's like, no, we're not leaving.
like an earthworm.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a whole bunch of little hands just grabbing a hold of the edge of the rock.
Oh, I should put tremors in a game.
What,
That'd be fun.
graboids? Oh, it's been done before.
Yeah, but not my game.
That's a fair point. Yeah, I guarantee you right now, if you look for 5e graboid stats, there's probably several of them.
Speaking of, um, I hate it when something that I'm writing and I'm focused around a very particular topic and it becomes mainstream immediately. I'm not going to go into too many details of it because I don't want to ruin it for the people that are playing the Owl campaign. But something that's coming out soon pretty much uses the big bad from my campaign in their story, and it made me very upset.
So you mean kind of like with Dread of the Ice Devil, and
Kind of the exact
uh,
same thing, but
and then like as soon as Icewind Dale drops, it's like, oh, it's using all the same bad guys. Okay,
well, I mean that was just that was a happy circumstance in a
happenstance.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was okay with that because that was just where it is. But this is like I want this to be a mystery, and I want this to be something that the players have to unravel and figure out. And what I'm doing is not an original idea. It's out there. It's far in public domain.
Mhm.
Anyone can use it. It's been rewritten 1,000 times, but it just happens to be in the stupid book
Yeah.
the
And
exact same thing that I'm doing, and it's just
yep.
like, come on.
Yeah, and
It feels like it really devalues my idea a lot when I know it
it keeps
doesn't.
happening to you. It really does. Like I
Yeah.
caught the tail end of yours and Dan's conversation last night, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And yeah, yeah, that sucks because who the hell would even think to do that?
Hmm.
But here it is. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just not worry about it. Just enjoy what you're doing and
So have you has that ever happened to you, like where you've done something you thought it was a great original idea and like you
many
play the
many
game with
times.
it and the person goes, "That's just idiocracy," but this.
Oh no, like we've definitely had that happen. It happened multiple times with the previous campaign that my other DM Johnny was running. It didn't happen. It hasn't happened to me, but he was running a Mind Flayer campaign, and just so much of that Mind Flayer campaign that he went through ended up in Baldur's Gate, the video game.
Really?
Yeah, it was just like we wrapped that campaign up, and then like 2 weeks or no 2 days later, the fucking trailer for Baldur's Gate drops, and it's like we just ran this. We literally just went through this whole fucking thing, and here it is as a video game.
So I've always struggled with the idea that, the stuff that I've written, whether it be novels or campaigns, wasn't original enough.
Mhm.
And because I didn't feel like my idea was original enough, it's not good enough to get published or put out there. And it's something I've actually struggled with quite a lot. Now it just annoys me, you know, because like even the situation that we're talking about, my interpretation of this thing is going to be vastly different. Okay, but the names stay the same, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Um, it's really annoying but I've had to come to this understanding that there are no original ideas.
Yeah, I mean the idea that they're utilizing was stolen from somebody from 100 years ago.
Right. Like even Tolkien and his creation of the elves and the dwarves and the orcs
Yep.
existed previously. He just put it in his own method,
I don't
his
know.
own
Did orcs exist before Tolkien? I don't think so.
maybe not the word because he did come up with a lot of original words for a lot of
Yeah.
things,
I mean
but
the obvious idea of, oh, they're all bad guys, they're corrupted something or other, that's not new.
right. Whether it be being corrupted things where we become a bigger brute is an idea that's always existed out there.
Yeah.
Um, brigands and other whatever name you want to have for them, they've always had they've always been around. Um, but Tolkien kind of either created a name. I
Uh,
think Goblin existed before.
oh yeah, Goblin was around long before that.
Yeah, but he's the one I think maybe came up with the term.
Okay, no, actually he did not create orcs.
Okay,
Well, he didn't create the word at least. So
all right,
I'm reading on it right now. Basically, it was Old English for demon.
and that works.
Yeah,
But like how he took it and tailored it all around and made things
yeah. So
cool.
yeah, very quickly. So the word Orkneas is found in Beowulf,
Okay,
so it's really old.
yeah. I mean, eventually everything gets down to the hero story and the hero's journey, and it's all the same telling of the same story over and over again, just different aspects of it.
Yeah.
And that's for the more, I guess, people actually studied English and writings.
Yep. Yeah, and
Um,
like the hero's journey, it always ends one of two ways. Either the hero lives, and goes on to retire and enjoy the rest of his life, or he gets killed in the end while still succeeding.
yeah, and like even Harry Potter is not original by any means,
Oh God, no.
and I was I was too old to ever still watched any of the movies to care about Harry Potter. Don't kill me.
I'm
But
trying
like,
not to. I'm trying not to.
I mean, I also said like it's a very original setting that was created for them, and a very interesting way in how it all works.
Yeah.
Then on two legs and is very well thought out, and I think that's what matters. So you're not just directly copying things from somebody, word for word, ability for ability. As long as you spin to the character or spin to the thing, that's all that's needed. And it's still hard, even for me today, to kind of do that and feel like I'm not being, cheap and just taking somebody else's idea.
Here's the thing. You're writing your own stuff, even though it has been done before, and even though you might subconsciously be pulling ideas from things you have seen or heard before, you're not doing it intentionally. And that's sort of that caveat to creating it as yours. If you
Mhm.
knowingly are pulling ideas from other places, then I don't see a problem with it, but it makes it less original. If you're
Yeah.
pulling it because that's just what's running through your head at the time, that's sort of the original way. That's the right way to come up with something new and creative. And you might create an idea, and then somebody later on will say, "Well, that's just this idea, you know, reskinned," and you're like, "Well, shit, it is." Well, fuck it. I wasn't thinking about that when I made it, so it's original. It's mine.
Yeah. And there's also part of me too that's like, this is something felt like was very, very me and very personal. And it's hard to share something that I've created, without opening myself up for like, criticism and insult, you know. So it's that meme with a little squishy thing coming out of the box. And like when I was in high school, I loved Dragon Ball Z. I liked Dragon Ball before it was popular, kind of thing.
Who are you?
Damn kids.
I don't even know who you are anymore. You've never seen Harry Potter. You fucking like Dragon Ball. What's
Well,
wrong with
see,
you?
I like Dragon Ball. Like I had gotten like bootleg VHS tapes of them recorded straight from a
These were
VCR.
legally acquired VHS tapes of Dragon Ball.
No, I had to get them from like a friend of a friend of a friend, essentially.
Legally
And
acquired them.
no, they're just the VHS copies of like when they broadcast them in Japan. Like I had to fast forward through the Japanese commercials and
Okay, well
everything.
I'm gonna cut all of this out of the podcast. Moving right along.
But like when it became popular, then it was like, well, everyone, it's there now, and now it's
Yeah.
ruined. Now my fandom of this means less because it's popular and current. When really it doesn't. It took a long time to kind of grow past that.
Yeah, I struggle with that with Dungeons and Dragons every single day. So,
I
because it
mean,
was
it's not like we're
yeah.
creating a podcast or anything about it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely not jumped the shark or anything of that nature by now. So
So now
with
that we've derailed ourselves from topic to topic to topic, what's the one thing you wanted to talk about today?
well, I tried talking about the Heroes Quest thing, but that went nowhere. Uh, well, actually, honestly, it still kind of ties into. I think the Heroes Quest is how we got onto the subject of
Mhm.
originality,
Yeah.
because while I would be, if I did a campaign like that, while I would be knowingly taking it from Heroes Quest, I still think it would be kind of a cool setting to run. Where
Yeah.
money is just super fucking hard to get. It's very low powered, low end, uh, sort of a Robert E. Howard esque, except it's just a dungeon. But I am knowingly taking that idea from Heroes Quest and then converting it, which it's still original. It's still kind of cool.
Yeah, but you're also building on it too, and
Yes,
that's the
and
main
that's the thing.
difference.
You always want to build on it. Now
Um,
if I called it Heroes Quest the RPG, that would be infringement. But
no one cares.
I don't know. Fucking Games Workshop, they care a lot about stuff like that.
Oh yeah, have you seen what they've been doing to people? It's pretty bad.
I haven't, but I'm sure it's awful because they're an awful company.
They anyone that does any type of reviews of any products, they've been copyright striking them on you off of YouTube
Of course they
and
have.
Twitch, which is weird. And then they go if you're creating custom miniatures and posting them like with 3D modeling and
Right,
whatnot,
yeah.
they're copywriting striking you too.
I could actually kind of see that because that's a gray area. The copywriting reviews, uh, that's just them being a dick. And l- YouTube, I would imagine, just they have to fucking review it because they're gonna take care of
They
any
don't.
copyright strikes. They're
They
I would
don't.
what do they just take it down and
Yep.
they don't review or anything.
Nope.
God, I hate YouTube sometimes.
They take it down, and all revenue that the video would have gotten goes to the people who made the claim.
I mean, there's a lot of videos. I don't know specifically about the Warhammer, but there are a lot of videos that get copyright strikes that then get reviewed, that get put right back up, and funds returned, etc. Um,
It takes a long
it
time.
sometimes it can take just a couple of days. Sometimes it takes longer.
There was a guy who basically his whole video is him scuba diving, finding things, and restoring them.
Mhm.
Some dude from Brazil took his videos, copied them, and he reposted them on his YouTube channel with his face in front of him, like talking about, "Oh, cool! Look at that thing he just found. Look at this thing he just found."
Sure, he
And then he
reviewed it.
copies, and then he copyright striked the original creator, saying that it's his video now, and his channel got copyright striked to deletion
Huh.
before YouTube came and fixed the problem.
Yeah, but before they came and fixed the problem.
But he lost all his subscribers and viewers and
Yeah.
revenue, and
Yeah,
basically tanked him ever doing
yes,
this again because of
that
that.
absolutely can happen, and that's not even on YouTube. That's just the fucking algorithm they have for copyright strikes.
Yeah. So if you're wondering why our YouTube channel is not getting updated regularly, it's because A, I don't have time, I don't have an editor, and it's kind of a legal gray area I'm worried about jumping into.
It's not a legal gray area I am even remotely worried about jumping into, but at the same time, none of us have time. So, it just it's not there. We don't have time for YouTube. So
I'm actually kind of curious if Hero Quest, when did it come out?
It would have been 89, 88, 90, right in there, I think. Uh,
Okay, so Hasbro owns it now,
oh, okay.
and they're still publishing it.
Yeah, that's recent. Okay, 89 is when it came out.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you can right now go to Hasbro Pulse, and you could actually, they Pulse is like their Hasbro's like self-funding Kickstarter system.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a Kickstarter for Heroes Quest last year or the year before that I
Yeah.
wanted to get in on it, but skipped out because of
Oh no, this
funds
is
at
still
the
going
time.
right now.
Oh,
Oh no,
okay.
yeah, it was. Oh yeah, no, it was last year.
Yeah, all right.
Um, you could buy basically a recreation of Hero Quest. That's really cool.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to go play some old school D&D with six-sided dice, give Heroes Quest a shot. Um, because like I love that game. It's fantastic. Since then, there have been a lot of other games that have come out that really are just above and beyond it, but there's still a nostalgic feel for that game. Like D&D has released all of their own board games, which are pretty goddamn awesome. I got to admit, using
Yeah.
they're basically fourth edition rules, but it works great as a board game. Then there's Gloomhaven, which if it's a legacy game, so you only ever play through it one time, but it's literally just a campaign, and this thing would take months upon months to complete. It's also, if you're not familiar with Gloomhaven, it's also kind of cool because it's a bit of a roguelike. So as you complete task, you unlock other playable characters for the campaign.
Okay.
So you can retire your character after a while and then be like, I'm going to play this new guy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. Hopefully, we'll get back to playing it pretty soon. The pandemic sort of squashed that. But
So it's funny. I'm kind of looking at this Hero Quest thing, and I'm seeing the expansion that you get, the Return of the Witch Lord,
yeah,
and it's a lich basically sitting on his throne, surrounded by a bunch of people, and the dude is a dead ringer for a anime called Overlord, and the anime is about a lich or a player in an online video game that gets trapped in the video game because Japan loves that right
yep.
now, and he plays a lich named Ainz Al Goon Gown, Ainz Al Goon,
Okay,
and he looks exactly like the Witch Lord
trying to
on that cover.
trying to find a
That's
picture of
crazy.
him. Send me a. Oh, okay, there he is. Huh. Yeah.
Um, to talk about original ideas, like even that anime is a fantastic retelling of a structure that they have. So like, there's 1,000 animes mangas right now that are basically, oh, I got trapped in a video game and this is my life now. Sword Art Online and
Oh,
Hack.fine
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Hack was the first one I remember.
So this one is very interesting, and it kind of flips the whole idea on its head. It's like, what happens when you're the most powerful thing in existence? And you're just trying to live your daily life without people bothering you. And he kind of gets stuck in this fantasy world where, he could literally just like walk into town and like cast a spell and just destroy the entire town. But he's trying to like figure out like why he's here, what's going on, and just kind of that story where people are trying to fight him and beat him, but like you can't get through even his first level of defenses because he's just that powerful. And he's like trying to just like make his way through the world. It's like, just leave me alone.
A
I
little bit
gotta
like
figure this shit
little bit
out.
like One Punch Man, kind of.
Uh, kind of to a degree, but he's very well aware of his power.
Yeah.
There's a couple of really cool scenes in the anime where like he just unleashes like his full potential just because the person that he's fighting, the hero, earned it. And it's a very exciting thing. It's I think they moved from mangas to novels, so yeah, count me out there. If it doesn't have pictures, I ain't gonna read it.
Yeah, same. I think the only thing I dislike about that, here's the way I think they should have gone. Rather than him trying to figure out where he's at, how to get out of this thing, or how to do anything, I think he literally should just be a farmer in the game world.
Well,
Just to,
that's actually he actually does something like that. He actually he puts on a fighter ring that he has that gives him fighter skills. Okay, but while he has a fighter ring on, he can't access any of his magic. So then he and one other his like level 3 or tier 3 guards goes out into like the bigger cities, and basically he's basically a guts
Right.
and is just fighting around doing battles while he's trying to figure things out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all right with that idea, but I just think the idea is he should just be a guy, just a fucking dude. He works, maybe he makes bread. He grows wheat, has his own like fucking windmill, just wants to be left alone. And then like every episode, some giant ass monster or some big badass fighter shows up, burns down the neighboring town because he won't come out to fight.
So one thing that happens at the very beginning of the anime is he shows up to like the village is like right next to this necropolis when it just shows up in this world, and he rescues a little girl from getting killed by some bad guys. And he's in this he's full lich form at this point in time, just decimating these people with like the point of his finger because finger of death is a spell.
Yeah.
Um, and like he just gives her a trinket. He's like, "What do I have in my pocket?" He pulls out like this horn and a couple other things. He's like, "Hey, just take these things. Blow the horn. Goblins will show up and protect you. You'll be fine." Um, she's like, "Okay." And so as their story develops over like the 3 seasons of the anime, she blows on the horn in season 1, and it summons a bunch of goblins, and the goblins kind of like start repairing the town. They're not very like chaotic evil goblins. They're kind of like
Yeah, they're magically bound to, you know,
yeah, well, they're not chaotic evil. They're more almost like dwarves in a way. How they kind of like build like a little community around her and stuff like that, and like build defenses and whatnot. And then in season 3, she has to blow on the horn again because her town is getting overrun by the local king or whatever. And it turns out that the horn he gave her was actually this one in a billion legendary item. And it summons not just another group of goblins, but it summons an entire army slash civilization of goblins.
oh.
And so like they have like goblin paladins, goblin warg riders, goblin redcaps,
Okay,
goblin
so here's what happened is that the initial time she blew it in the first
too
season.
too low level.
Well, no, the first time she blew it, what she gets like 30 goblins or whatever, just enough to build the town, and then she puts them back in the horn for 2 years. Well, the goblins got nothing to do inside that horn except breed. Next time she blows the horn, boom, army.
Yeah. It's a fantastic anime. I definitely suggest watching it if you got a free time. You can find it on Crunchyroll for free.
Good old Crunchyroll.
Yeah, they're making a bunch of good stuff. Did you see the Blade Runner anime?
I have not. That I might actually have to check out. I love Blade
It-
Runner.
We're at the end of the episode, so screw D&D. Yeah, Blade Runner anime coming out in November.
Nice. Yeah, might have to
Yeah,
check that out.
it's
Might have
like
to.
it's one half Battle Angel, one half something else. Shit, well from Nikita, I think. It
Hmm.
it looks pretty cool.
I do love me Battle Angel Alita too, but I like the movie and the anime movie. So, I never
I
did
haven't
read the
seen
manga
either of
though.
those.
Anyway, that's it for Dungeons and Manga. Thanks for checking us out.
All right, Panda, sing us out.
So long. The grumpiness has been your friend. Now go and spread anger through D&D. No, don't do that. Be happy, be friendly, be awesome, but maintain the boiling hate that inside your heart. I don't know, buddy. I'm rambling at this point. Shut me up and end this podcast.